And so I don't know if you heard that Rose McGowan has spoke out about Rachel Evan Wood supporters and is saying that they bullied her. She also wrote a book in which she wrote about her experience and time with Marilyn Manson. I did a reaction to Rose McGowan speaking to a survivor advocate or an SA advocate, and she talks about how they treated her and makes suggestions on how people shouldn't do that to survivors, nor one another, nor bully anyone else you know has been with the man that assaulted you into saying something, even if that wasn't their experience. But we're going to go over it. I just wanted to do a proper intro because I have this new, well, it's not new, but it's a new tripod, and I'm holding like a certain part of it right now very awkwardly. And while I was using the Record It app, it just records you watching it. It doesn't play the audio as well. So I'm gonna have to sync that in. But I was like pulling Michelle Sabat and like my hand over the camera because my phone kept doing what it's doing now on the other tripod, which is like slanting, which is nothing you guys want to hear about. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that interview, and then after that I'm gonna play an interview between Rose McGowan and Tucker Carlson a year ago about her experience with Harvey Weinstein and what she persevered then, and how she got through it, and just to give insight into how strong of a woman she is, and how if she at all thought she were wrong about a man, or she felt she were disrespecting survivors by saying this is not my experience, or by complimenting the man that she had a wonderful experience with, that I don't believe she would do that if she thought she was wrong. Yeah, and if her gut is telling her, or her instinct is giving her insight that, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna follow her lead. So, hope you guys enjoy. Rose McGowan says Evan Rachel Wood fans bullied her and that Marilyn Manson never abused Rose.
You've stood by many survivors, even survivors that weren't being stood by. Do you have a position on that, or is you just kind of do whatever you think is the best?
It's really hard, you know. I get a lot of I got a lot of people with Evan Rachel Wood, the actress Evan Rachel Wood, who had not. I'm not in any camp on that. I'm not, you know. But I got a lot of bullying from people on her behalf. Why haven't you talked about Marilyn Manson? Why haven't you? And all I can say is, for me, I didn't experience that, but also this person hadn't come out and named anything yet. There was nothing to support. For me, it's a case-by-case basis, and there's just so many that you kind of can't do it all. But I would say to the people out there that are supporters of people, don't bully. Don't bully. Like, I was really bullied nastily by her supporters, I would say. And for me, all I can say is, in my relationship with him, that wasn't a factor. I didn't experience that. I hate it when I see like someone defending someone and saying, well, they never did it with me, so these other people must be lying. I don't know. I was not there. I hate anybody suffering. I hate anybody hurting. But I also, I don't understand. And of course, not everybody will be telling the truth. That's another component that's extremely hard to deal with for me, just psychologically, because I don't understand why the hell anybody would ever want to wear that mantle if it's not in fact true. I can't psychologically grasp why you would want that kind of attention. And then also because the second you do come out, everyone's like, you're lying. You're just doing it to get attention. You're like, I was already being dickweed. In my case, there's so many. It's a case by case, but also you have to fight your own battles too, and people that have a name,
yeah,
they have to fight their own also with support. I hope that now that's gotten a lot better. But there's, I would say, almost more land on that. Don't bully people into doing it. The people that, like on the Britney side, they did it in a really respectful way, and that's why I responded kind of well to that.
So I'm going to read some of this to you. I'm not going to read the entire chapter. I'm only going to read what's relevant. couple of objections before I get into this. Some people say that it is irrelevant if Rose McGowan had only positive experiences with Marilyn Manson because people can be different to different people. In other words, the idea is that he could have been this wonderful gentleman and caring boyfriend and fiance to Rose McGowan for 3.5 years, but also be this horrible, abusive monster to other women. Well, I just don't believe that someone can be that different. To me, the idea that he would put on this fake self for 3.5 years, even after they got engaged, right? And they're living together and they're going on tour and they're together all this time, but he's got this fake mask on for 3.5 years. No, I don't believe that. So I think that what we get in here is an accurate depiction of who Marilyn Manson was. All right. So let's look at this. And by the way, she was also with him when he was using drugs. She mentioned sometime later, several years later, in an interview about why they broke up, and she alluded to the cocaine problem. So this is not a situation where he was nice and sober with her, but then he started doing drugs and then he got out of control and became this monster. That's not the case. All right. And also, I just want to say, she talks about lots of other exes in this and lots of other, male friends and men in her background and her family and all of that. And she accuses lots of different men of being abusive, including Robert Rodriguez, the director that she dated and got engaged to. So again, I'm just wanting you to give you some context about this before I start reading it. Okay? We had so much fun. We truly did. But still, I was plagued with night terrors and post-traumatic stress disorder. This is from Harvey Weinstein and other stuff that she'd been through that she describes in the book before that. The first year we were together, Manson patched me back together after the assault. I didn't tell him what had happened for the first few months, but finally he asked a girlfriend of mine, "What's wrong with Rose?" I was waking up screaming at night, soaking the sheets with my night sweats. My friend told him the truth, and Manson was so sweet with me. Finally, some kindness. Now you're hearing what she's saying? She's saying not only was Manson not abusive, but that he was the one who patched her back together after she'd been abused by all these other people in her background. And she says, finally, some kindness. That's right. So the first person that she's mentioned in the book, the first man who's shown her a lot of kindness, Marilyn Manson. He was a very misunderstood person. Even though the media had dealt with controversial musicians like Alice Cooper or Ozzy Osbourne, and rational people knew it was all an art performance, with Manson, they really bought it. They really thought he spent his nights skinning puppy dogs alive and boiling them in vats of acid while saying, "Hail Satan." In reality, the exact opposite was going on. You hear what she's saying? He was the exact opposite of that scary, monstrous image. The truth was that at the time when he wasn't creating music, Manson was painting watercolors of my Boston Terriers while I was ordering glassware from Martha Stewart's online shop. We basically hid out from the world at home, totally domestic, when we weren't on the road having mad escapades. I was happy because I could forget about what had happened to me, at least during the day. Nevertheless, people thought it was bizarre that I was going out with him. When they freaked out about it, I'd think, but you're bizarre to me. This is someone who's kind to me, who's taking care of me. Manson always saw to my needs and paid great attention to detail, and we fell in love. When I ran off with the Manson circus, I didn't really work for about 3.5 years. She didn't really work. She was with him almost the whole time, 3.5 years. It was a blast, and we were madly in love, and anybody who thinks differently is wrong. It was a pretty legendary relationship, not just in the media. It was a pretty legendary relationship behind the scenes, too. We had a whole lot of amazing. She says, this was a man I'd nicknamed Doctor, because if I even looked like I had a headache, he'd say, "Do you need an aspirin? Tylenol? Are you okay? Can I help you?" He was so considerate of me, so gentle.
Thanks, guys.
All right. So that's what she's saying about him.
Enjoyed that as much
And
as I did. This is a brave lady. She's fought her own battles against Harvey Weinstein, the stalkers, the dossiers he sent after her. So, if her gut's giving her a lead, I trust it. Let's look at Tucker Carlson's interview with her a year ago.
So I'm doing dishes. I figured
a whole system.
watch this.
And it's not just Harvey Weinstein at
Can
all.
you
It's like
stop
a lot
it?
of people participating
Stop
in this.
it?
Like everybody.
Yeah. What is it called?
Yeah, well, that was kind of the point.
Exactly. So,
So at what point you recognize it's not just this creepy
Putting my gloves
movie
on.
mogul, it's like everybody.
Well, very quickly. When I flew home, I didn't go to any of the other premieres I had at Sundance. That time I went home. And I went to the management office of my managers at that time, and the head manager, they were very powerful. I said to him, what happened? And I was like, shell-shocked and like, and the first thing out of his mouth, God damn it, I just had an LA Times expose on him killed. He owes it to me not to do this. Wow.
Whoa.
And then I was like, that's when I started figuring out everybody was in on it. Wow. So then I said, I want the LAPD. I want to talk to a criminal attorney. I want somebody to tell me what my rights are here. And of course, at that time, like if I'd come out and said in the press, like, please, like nothing would happen, obviously. It wasn't the time societally. Certainly is not the time there, not that it ever was. And so my old assistant, like 3 years ago, she's like, she's a lesbian, and the woman that came in that presented as working for the LAPD in a black suit, like kind of a short hair, like lesbian woman. She goes, "You're an actress. You've done a nude scene. You're done." And she wasn't wrong. I knew she was right. I was like, yeah, you're right. So then I found out quickly that he was offering to anybody he'd done this to $1 million. That was his number. That was his standard offer. And you had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, which means you cannot talk to your therapist, your boyfriend, your mom, anybody in your life for the rest of your life. You cannot tell them this monstrous thing happened to you. Keep it inside. So I was like, I'm going to trick him. So I played really dumb and requested $100,000 in return for not signing an NDA. So I became very quickly his number one enemy because then the movies I had done that hadn't come out yet hit, and I got very famous very quickly. So then I'm dangerous to him. So from that point on, your former guest, Anthony Pellegrino, he was hired actually to work for the Inquirer to keep dossiers on me. He bought off, this has also been exposed by Vernon Farrow, who I have my own quibbles with. Maybe we'll get there. He would like say from anyone from Graydon Carter to somebody, any journalist in America.
It looks like her team told her not to go there. I'm going to research that guy.
Did someone say shh? It sounded like someone said shh. That was
Graydon
creepy.
Carter,
I can't
at
remember
the time, was the editor of Vanity Fair.
Fair.
Very powerful. Very powerful.
I think someone shushed.
So
that was creepy.
all these journalists from both, from anywhere from the New York Times to the Inquirer to People to Us Weekly, any of these kind of things, he would say, he would option one of their stories they'd written and say, I'm going to turn this into a movie. I'm going to win you a lot of Oscars. Oh, by the way, here's my hit list. If this person ever appears like on a red carpet or there's a paparazzi photo of them, write the most disparaging, disgusting stuff. He had a list. I was number one on his list of the red ones. And he was not wrong. I am a very formidable enemy.
Yeah, well, you turned out to be. That's for sure.
I mean,
for him.
the thing is, it's like, dude, you built this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do this. You think I want to talk about this stuff?
But you're a survivor.
And what planet is this?
Right.
No, but somebody has to do it. And I know when I was 11, I used to study Napoleon, Genghis Khan. I was on the great battle plans. I had like Venn diagrams on my walls and ceilings with threads and pins, like studying.
So it must be kind of weird when all this breaks.
Yeah,
You know, this is like shocking.
And there was a 16-year-old girl from Australia that tweeted at me. She goes, I'm 16 and I work in a coffee shop in Australia. This after he was exposed. And even I knew.
So what do you make of this? Like,
What do you make of it? What are your thoughts on the morals?
I think I'm not a conspiracy nut. Well, first of all, I'm not sure what to make of some of it. Like the
Saw
outline,
his
I don't
house
know enough
in
because I've never lived in that
Florida.
world. I just brushed.
It was nice.
But you know that he was protected by Hillary and Bill Clinton, that he was protected by David Boyce.
100%. David was a true sleazeball.
Well, I'm suing him in federal court.
You should.
And Black Cubed.
You should.
I
You
am.
should.
So,
But it's like the
he was
Epstein
protected
thing.
by the Democratic Party.
Yeah, why?
That's what I don't understand. So for me, like I think my
She didn't
opponents
take $1 million.
do not understand my motivations at all. They try to
be a motivation.
buy me off every way. In fact, Gavin Newsom's ex-wife, before the Weinstein story broke, because they knew I was coming, because I was hitting out for like 3 years at Hollywood, very publicly, in the press.
Yeah.
And so people all of a sudden acted like I just spoke up the first day they read about Weinstein. I'm like, no, I've been rattling their cages because
Okay, girl, I see you. Now we're gonna move on to the next
I think
video.
people in the media listen to me differently. Because if they just saw me as an actress first day, this would all not have worked. I had to set up a domino effect worldwide. I wanted to show people that if you fight and are strategic and very smart about it, you can cut off the head of rotten power instead of just biting at the ankles of pigs.
There's a part 2 to this, so if you want to watch that. I don't know if there's a part 3. And what's up with the Clintons being buddies with like the nastiest people? Epstein, Weinstein. She said she doesn't understand why the Democratic Party would protect him. That's sickening, because the only reasons I can think of are not good. But I hope everyone enjoyed this. I just wanted to show that to give context into how strong of a woman she is. And just knowing that she's making a statement bold enough to say that Rachel Evan Wood's fans or supporters are bullying her, that she must mean it, because she doesn't BS and she doesn't mess around. And she's not afraid of an adversary. Thank you for listening. Have a great morning, afternoon, or night, and I'll talk to you soon.